The passive participle is in many ways identical to the active participle. It behaves in all the same ways that we've discussed for the active participle, except the meaning has shifted from active to passive, and the vowel patterns are different. Let's start with some examples to illustrate this. So, ha'ish horeig, kotev, is an active participle. The man, horeig, is killing. If I shift this to the passive participle, then oa shifts to ru. This is the typical passive participle structure, ru. One of my students a few years ago started to call it the bar stool pattern, the ru bar stool pattern for the passive participle. Perhaps because a bar stool is sitten upon. The bar stool doesn't sit, that would be active. The bar stool is sitten upon in the passive. Okay, in the active sentence here, ha'ish horeig, the man is killing. You can see that it is the predicative use of the participle because there's no definite article on the participle itself. The man is killing. The passive participle, though, the man is killed or has been killed. The killed man. The man has been killed. This is still the predicative use. So I slipped up in my speaking just a second ago. This is predicative use, the man, but no definite article on the passive participle. This ha belongs to the root itself. G is to kill. Too much Häagen-Dazs will kill you. So this participle, passive participle, doesn't have the definite article. The man has been killed or is killed. And remember, with the predicative, the order can be the other way round as well. Tell me about the man. Harug ha'ish, killed is the man. We could, of course, use the passive participle in its attributive sense. Ha'ish he harug. Now you can see it agrees in definiteness as well as number and gender. Ha'ish he harug, the killed man. And then an example of that in a sentence. Ha'ish he harug babayit. The killed man is in the house. Or, in better English, the man who was killed is in the house. Or the man who had been killed is in the house. Another set of examples. Hamelech ohev et hamalka. Here we have an active participle, ohev, loving, loves. Hamelech, oh, I can see I forgot my Dagesh forte in my mem here. I'm sorry about that. Oh, and I also forgot the patach. Oh dear, what a load of mistakes. Hamelech ohev, the king loves, et hamalka, the queen. Subject, active verb, loves, and then the definite object with the definite object marker. The king loves the queen. If I want to put this active sentence into the passive, it would be the queen is loved with a passive participle. Hamalka ahuva. The queen is loved. Passive participle. She is the passive recipient of the king's love. So active, the king loves the queen, but passive, the queen is loved. The queen is loved. Ahuva. Hamalka ahuva. In English, we can say something like, the queen is loved by the king. So we can supply the so-called agent who is doing the loving, even in a passive sentence. The queen is loved by the king. Hebrew, biblical Hebrew, at least, tends not to supply the agent. So if the sentence is made passive, then you technically lose some information. Here we simply have the queen is loved. We don't know whether it's by the king or by the pauper or by whom, because the agent is usually left off. Now let's see this passive participle being used attributively. Vatakom hamalka ha'ahuva. Passive participle, ahuva. We'll go over the form in just a moment. It agrees in gender, feminine, number, singular, and definiteness, and so it is functioning attributively. Hamalka ha'ahuva, the loved queen, the loved queen. And here we have a regular vayiktol vatakom, from kum, to get up. Vatakom is therefore she got up. The loved queen got up. The loved queen got up. Okay. Hopefully those examples have primed the pump, and you can see that we really are dealing, in terms of structures, with very, very similar thing to the active participle. The endings are just like the endings on adjectives. Gadol, gadola, gadolim, gadolot. Just like with some adjectives like gadol, you have to remember the gin and tonic rule, or the rule of propretonic reduction. Katuv becomes kutuva, kutuvim, kutuvot. In terms of weak forms, there are very, very few weak roots where the pattern is disrupted. The first guttural is an obvious one. Azuv, abandoned. Azav is to leave or abandon, so azuv is abandoned. When I do my gin and tonic rule on azuv, on the ayin, I can't have a regular sounded shava under my ayin, so I have to have a chatef, and the usual vowel is a chatef patach. So that's one very, very small change. I've included the third hey here, but you can see it's not in red. It's not highlighted as particularly odd, and that's because actually it's entirely regular, provided you remember that third hey roots are actually third yod. So here is my bet nun yod. That's my root b n y, bana, to build. And then I've got my regular R-U pattern in between. Ba-nui. Bunuya. Bunuyim. Bunuyot. The yod there returns and functions as a normal consonant, the normal third consonant in the root b-n-y. So, provided that you remember that third hey roots are actually third yod roots, even the passive participle of third hey is entirely regular. A few more examples. HaSefer HaKatuv, the book, the written one. So, the written book. Ha'ir, you remember, is feminine. Ir, city, is feminine. Ha'ir surufa, the city, definite. Surufa, no definite article, so this is a predicative use of the passive participle. The city is burned, or the city has been burned. habbatim habnuyim. Here my participle agrees in number, plural, gender, masculine, and definiteness. The houses, the built ones, so the built houses. And in a sentence you might have something like, the built houses are already occupied, or something like that. He'arim azuvot. The cities, remember cities is feminine. Abandoned agrees in number, plural, and gender, feminine, but it does not have the definite article at the beginning, so this is a predicative use. The cities are abandoned, or the cities have been abandoned.